Ich habe das Gefühl, ich muss perfekt sein. Angst ist das, was mich antreibt.
Spielen neue Inhalte zuerst auf PS4. For the Players.
Sie sind besiegbar, die Faschisten. Es liegt in unserer Hand.
Die Welt hat mir mein ganzes Leben gestohlen. Vielleicht habe ich diese Fähigkeit, um mir etwas davon zurückzuholen.
Von jeher beschränkte es sich auf zwei Menschen. Die göttliche Paarung. Einer wird leben und einer wird sterben.
Die Person ist vielleicht ein hochrangiges Ziel. Ich fliege nicht in den Jemen. Ich bin Analyst.
Steigen Sie in den Flieger.
Was er vorhat, scheint etwas anderes zu sein.
Willkommen zu Hause, Björn! Willkommen zu Hause!
Interesting for the shot. They have to rotate around underneath. They didn't expect this, though.
Bumper wants to fight. He likes fighting in close quarters, but Super's able to repel him. The Shock have a player advantage here, and they're not getting ahead of themselves, but they need to get to the payload. That one's still moving right now. The Shock have to round back. Unfortunately for them, they do. Bumper will rejoin the Titans very quickly, and then it will be another 6v6. The Shock cannot afford to lose.
And I wonder if the Shock have an idea that Bumper has to shatter.
Oh, maybe not. Bumper goes for the shatter. Rascal was knocked down, but a quick sound barrier is going to keep everyone on the Shock pretty much immune from dying for that period of time. They need to continue this fight, though, and Violent has a Transcendent that he's saved for just this moment. Sinatra also has a Graviton Surge.
And where the payload is, you're not going to get this second fight I was talking about. This is going to be a one-fight territory. You can see Summon Sue's screen.
No margin
of error. The victory right there.
The San Francisco Shock have to go now. Super sees the payload. This is the checkpoint right here. That box. No! Bump is down! The Shock were trying to hang on, but the Titans look too good right now. Takes down Titan. Both Lucios are missing, and Simons are also removed by Trikoven. Santa's trying to throw it in. Look at that shatter from Bumper. It's huge. He tries to go for the finish, and he gets Sinatra. Violent response back towards Haxal, and Twilight is trying to keep it alive on the payload. No!
They're going to hold.
He comes back. He redeems himself by booping Bumper off into the river, and there's no gondola big enough to fit that man in it. And somehow the Shock stay in the fight.
And this gets dangerous, though, for Vancouver, because you use a lot of ultimates in that fight. You'll come back, you'll have Sound Barrier and Transcendence. If you use both of them and lose the fight, you're in a lot of trouble. That 4 minutes goes down pretty quick.
It looked like it was over after they lost Moth. The Shock are too greedy for that, but Super, he has to be careful. He's caught out of position. He's down. That's the first pick, and now the rest would follow. Bumper hits a huge shatter, and the Vancouver Titans stand on the precipice. They say the North never forgets, but now the North will never be forgotten. And the Vancouver Titans take what was promised to them, but they knew that was theirs alone. They will be the Vancouver Titans, your Stage 1 champions. No stranger to victory and championships for this team. special, something a little different.
Oh, it's an epic match. I mean, the Shock played Vancouver better than anyone we've seen all stage. It's a huge statement win for the Titans. They come in to the Overwatch League confident, champions back in Korea. They come in as an expansion team, newcomers to the Overwatch League, and take our stage 1.
And you have to say, the Vancouver Titans, they got what they came for. And they'll be very pleased about that one. It has been an incredible match between these two rosters. Bumper, he showed us his fallibility towards the end of this series. The risky play the Titans go for, but they stuck to their guns. It worked out for them, and we couldn't be happier. It's been an incredible stage thus far, but there's more to come. Our fans over on Twitch will be able to join us for the post-show, twitch.tv/Overwatch League. It's been a pleasure to have you all with us. For myself, Mitch Lacy, Matt Morello, we'll see you in the post-show.
Totally different series as well. Every single map was so close between these two teams, and we knew as soon as we started out and Shock managed to edge this one away, coming from that one-round deficit, that we were in for one hell of a game.
Yeah, this was just incredible play by San Francisco Shock. Their individual performances were absolutely standing out. Moth didn't even die anymore up until like the very end of this bout on Nepal. And on the other side, Sinatra had a standout performance on this map specifically. He only died 3 times in the first round, and then afterwards it was just all on him. Super great shatters throughout the entirety of this match. It was insane.
Do you know what? I think they just basically downloaded Bumper's weird Earth Shatter style, and Super's been able to work around that so well. Bumper didn't look like the insane star talent that he has done all season. He did look great, don't get me wrong, but Super, I think, got the better end of him across the majority of this series. But Vancouver here came back out and just demolished them on Numbani.
The clear moments for me where Vancouver was turning this around was the moments where it's where these years of synergy have been built up, where you can tell it's just dividend, because they just re-engage in a lot of these fights. They come in so quick with the reaction times, a lot of time with a lot of their engagements, using self-destructs in weird ways, defensively, aggressively, to initiate a lot of the fights. And that's where they got a lot of the edges in these team fights, even when they were down in ultimates, down in even numbers as well. This is the one thing that Vancouver Titans excel at, and they did so to clutch in certain maps.
Now watching this on the attack, Violet had some fat fingers, guys. Some big transcendence when they didn't need it, and those seem to be wasted. It was looking dire here for San Francisco Shock in their own map pick of Anubis, but Joy Colvin clutched up here and kept his team in the game.
He did, but you know, honestly, I do think I want to credit this to Violet. We did criticize his earlier trances, but then at the very end, they clutched it because his trance saved Moth, and Moth, in turn, they managed to boop the right people.
Oh, it's coming right here.
Yeah, right there it is.
There
So
it is.
it was like a really great team play there, and then Sinatra landed a grab right after that, and they just kind of all
this is the one,
there.
yeah. Violet clutching at the end of this, manages to pick off 2 players, then the trance comes out and heals up Sinatra, like you're saying. This fight was nuts, but it can show you how much this series could have turned on a dime.
Yes,
because if Choyobin had not clutched on point A, they would not have even been able to win this map whatsoever. And then if Violet hadn't clutched towards the end, again, the Vancouver Titans probably would have taken that. So the entirety of this series could have been so different if these tiny little minor details had changed. And I think that just shows you we witnessed an amazing match that could really have gone either way. But credit to both of these teams for playing such sublime Overwatch.
And I think the one takeaway, if you're watching the early half of this match, was that it seemed Vancouver simply could not defend Super Shatters. Let's take a look at some of these big ones, Josh.
Oh, they were unbelievably good. I mean, the way that he was playing around it as well, Bumper's he's a very hard Reinhardt to read. But when you take a look at the statistics here, Earth Shatter stuns in the first 3 maps went massively in favor of Super. but the actual kills that they were getting off of it, not that
pretty
many.
Close.
Right, and so there's a couple of ways of interpreting this. First of all, Bumper was landing a couple of key shatters, and they were having good efficiency translating them. And some of the shatters that Super was hitting, the peel was just too good from the Vancouver Titans.
Yes, yeah.
They were able to keep everybody alive. But I want to throw another interpretation of this in here, because Super had some great defensive Earth Shatters as well.
Yes.
And so he was throwing out those Earth Shatters not designed to get kills, but to stop his own team from getting killed. So the stun itself was the value there.
And we saw that on Nepal to clutch up on the final point. You saw it in map 3 as well on Anubis. But let's keep this show moving as we have to talk about the second half. With the Shock up 2-1, it was all Vancouver getting to choose which map we were going to, and the Titans didn't seem to be phased at all when we headed to Dorado.
So this is where we need to start talking about Vancouver Titans as a team, the history of this team as well. Yes, they're Korean Contenders champions going in past the year, but this team was also notorious for mentally choking in the finals.
They've made 4 finals, only won 1 of them.
Exactly.
So that tells you what you need.
And usually it's the turning point around the middle of the game. They just lost a map on Anubis. They come into this. This is normally where you start to see teams really falling to pieces. But you need to credit Vancouver Titans. They have such good mental strength to be able to power through this and be able to battle back after a loss on Anubis like this. Not a lot of teams in the league are capable of that.
So when you were watching Dorado, what were you keeping eyes on?
I was actually keeping an eye on the supports here, mainly Moth and his counterpart Slime. They had a little bit of a duel situation going on there in more than one situations, which I think is again a great example of Vancouver Titans really trying to adapt. They did see how much Moth actually got to set up with them, so they had Slime kind of onto Moth's heels, who kind of just followed him around, made sure that he's not setting up those big boops, which bumped Bumper into the Shock's line.
And you can see it continuing on to Ilios. These healers, we always talk about the tanks, but the healers doing so much work today. Ilios, of course, was the tie-breaking map 5 in our series. What were the biggest plays that you guys saw on this map in particular?
It all came down to this round, really, didn't it, Puck? It came down to and we had a weird situation where Vancouver continued to run this bunker composition, or the double stun comp, where you have the McCree and you have the Brigitte. Normally, it's not so good to run this against the Winston triple tank, triple support, but Vancouver made it work, got up to 97%, and San Francisco Shock just came all the way back.
And that's where we need to talk about as well the mental fortitude of San Francisco Shock on the other side. This is a team that hasn't been in playoffs, right? This is a team that are not used to this kind of high-pressure stake environment on the stage, yet they still managed to battle back in that round. And now they're 1 map up here on King's Row. Just absolutely absurd.
This was match point, King's Row for all of the marbles, and things were looking really good for Shock early on. They get an early point A, but when it came to this final point, Vancouver Titans dug their heels in.
Yeah, I think Zoe mentioned that she wasn't sure whether it was the right pick for the Vancouver Titans to go here, because it is an incredibly good map for the Shock. And I totally agreed. I thought it was a bit of a scary prospect for the Titans. But on their offense, they showed why they're such a great triple tank, triple support team. They just rolled it through, honestly.
It comes down to minor differences as well. A reoccurring point that we're going to be touching on for the Vancouver Titans is this fact that they've got this chemistry built up over so many years that they're able to just make split-second decisions and engagements with whatever ultimates they've got available to them to somehow clutch out a lot of fights, which they shouldn't.
Speaking of clutch, this was just insanity.
I couldn't believe what I was seeing.
I could not believe what we were seeing there. There were a lot of clutch moments for San Francisco Shock on their attack to actually get to the points. But once it was Vancouver Titans' turn, they rolled it. I've never seen a time quicker than that. I think they did mention that they actually said, yeah, it's the fastest attack time we've ever seen. And with such a humongous time bank in your pocket, it's really, really hard to actually lose it in the end. Although we do have to say, San Francisco Shock, they really played it up until the very end. Super still landing those huge shatters, which is unfortunate. There was no way they actually had to follow up on.
Not only do the Titans clutch up with back-to-back victories after the Shock was on match point, but they set a world record time on the attack on Rialto.
Crazy.
Insane stuff. Looking at some of the biggest players in this series, of course, we gave the MVP out earlier. But guys, how did the Zarias handle in this series? Incredible stuff on both ends.
Yeah, I mean, is it safe to say that So Min Soo is the best Zarya in the league? after this performance?
I think it would be reasonable, yes. So-Min-Soo had a crazy performance over the course of this. Sinatra's definitely up there. People like Nene from NYXL, maybe Decay from the Gladiators, but I think So-Min-Soo, you can make a great argument for him being the best in the world.
I don't want to take anything away from the Vancouver Titans with this, though, as well, because, you know, they come out clutch winning this team fight or this game, but there were so many moments where it could have been Shock right now, sitting up on that stage as the victors. It's such a hard point, realistically, to argue, and that's what I'm looking forward to forward into the league as we move forward, right? There's a little rivalry now, but developing between these two teams.
Pacific Division, we're going to see this a lot moving forward. I'm pumped to see this. Welcome to the league, Vancouver. Shock, awesome to see you here in your second year. But now it's time to crown our player of the match, presented by Omen by HP. Here it is officially. It's So-Min-Soo. That's right, the Zarya coming out. You said he's the #1 Zarya arguably in the game right now. Do you want to see him on this hero in the future?
I mean, I don't know what the meta's going to hold in the future. As much as I claim to be an oracle, I really don't know what we're going to be seeing. It could be that So-Min-Soo ends up taking a backseat for Stitch in the near future. But for his Zarya performance, the #1 thing for me is how intelligent he is. He doesn't need flashy plays. He might not have the best aim, but he's intelligent when it comes to his gravitons. He's intelligent when it comes to his bubbles as well. He's the one who's imperative in keeping Bumper alive the majority of the time, and I think he's been kind of like underrated almost. I'm not going to say too underrated compared to some of the other star talents, but like when we think of good Zarya players, you're thinking of Sinatra, you're thinking of Nene. You're not really thinking of So-Min-Soo so much, but he is integral to this team and their success.
No, he really is, and I think it is what makes him stand out so much, that he is playing a very passive Zarya, considering that he's playing with such an aggressive team, and he is the one who enables Bumper's absolute bunker plays. I mean, Bunker would not be able to do anything of what he actually is doing without So-Min-Soo having his back.
Such a ridiculous day. Are you guys exhausted?
Yes.
I'm exhausted. Let's give ourselves a breather. Still plenty more coming up here on the Watchpoint Post Show. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with lots more from the epic finish of Stage 1.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by...
Wir verkünden den Beginn der diesjährigen Purge. Sämtliche Verbrechen, einschließlich Mord, sind erlaubt. Gott schütze Amerika.
And of course, the big finish.
Yeah, again, fantastic performance by Shock in a lot of these clutch situations. They used to be one of the least clutch teams in the league, and they won a lot of these fights today.
And then finally, it took us about 3 hours, but we got here. Bumper and crew finished strong as they complete back-to-back maps.
I love this match.
Yes,
It was so good.
One of the best matches in recent memory, I think, for a stage finals. Like, our stage finals are usually fantastic.
Yeah,
right?
they are normally
very, very competitive. But this, I think, takes the cake, honestly, out of all of the recent Overwatch we've seen in quite some time.
Absolutely. There was one shot that didn't get caught on camera there, but I hope we have it backstage. I was watching live. As soon as they knew they won, Bumper lets go of his mouse, starts jumping and does this. That's my new Bumper celebration. You're going to see that a lot on this show. All right, guys, we're going to a quick break, but after the break, we take a look at what the Overwatch League has in store for you in Stage 2, so don't go anywhere. It's the Watchpoint Post Show.
The Overwatch League is powered by Intel. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the
Die Person ist vielleicht ein hochrangiges Ziel. Ich fliege nicht in den Jemen. Ich bin Analyst.
Steigen Sie in den Flieger.
Was er vorhat, scheint etwas anderes zu sein.
Not really. You're a little bit mad, honestly, if you don't think this hero...
Brent, why is he going to be awesome? Tell me why.
Talk about his abilities, right? So he provides insane damage for one, capable on the same level as a lot of damage-dealing characters. Immortality Field, there's not an ability like it in the game.
That's true.
You can use it to salvage a lot of team fights that you'll see in here. Saves you from self-destruct. The Amplification Matrix doubles your damage and healing.
Right, but you're
dealing damage and healing expertise. This is going to be up almost like every 2 team fights at least, realistically.
Yes.
I mean, this is going to be like a shield-breaking kind of combination. That's the thing. And that's I think, will make the big difference, because that will not enable all those Reinhardt plays and even Brick, you know, to some extent. I think this is definitely going to at least break that 3-3 combo.
So, let me also add something to
Go ahead, Brad.
Baptiste's argument. buffs for Orisa, nerfs for Lucio. Okay?
Nerfs for Lucio
speed
is the
boost
huge
is
one.
the biggest one.
Yeah.
The lack of speed boost now is one of the things that makes GOATs actually good, the triple tank, triple support composition.
Yeah.
Lucio's speed boost going from 30 to 20 is massive for nerfing that. Along with the Orisa buffs as well, it's minor, but it all helps at the end of the day when it comes to the bunker combos being ran. So I'm heated.
I can
I'm
tell.
heated,
I'm
heated.
Let the blood go back to your body. It's all in the head right now.
All right here.
Let it drain back down. Who are some of the players that we want to see running Batiste across the league? I'm looking for the guys that used to run Ana. Maybe they get a chance to have some mobility finally.
I think so. I think it's going to be the support people, but I'm not sure whether it's going to be the people you'd normally see on Zenyatta or Ana at the moment, or whether it's going to be the Lucios. It depends what he ends up synergizing best with. And when we were talking to Christopher earlier, he thought that it might be the main support player, Neptuno, Elk for the Fusion, the guys who you would normally see playing Lucio now. So that's a big shift in terms of what makes a player good. You don't really have to have great hit scan aim on Lucio at the moment. So a whole new skill set has now been opened up for those guys.
I'm looking forward to seeing maybe Slime on that character. All right, we'll see. We have to wait till stage 2. Vancouver, take a few days off before you make Slime play, though, all right? Let's talk about another major change that's coming in. We're switching up the map order, and we're also going to see some new maps into the lineup here. As you can see, we've got Paris coming in. That's going to be fun to watch, yeah? Yeah? Anybody?
Oh, yeah.
Josh wasn't so good on it when we played last night. His Genji fell into the water, which he didn't know existed.
Yeah, I didn't have the best performance on Paris, but I'm hoping that the pro teams can be a little bit better than me. They usually are.
So the interesting thing about Paris compared to a lot of the other Assault maps from what I've seen is the long sight lines on it in particular.
Huge.
There's a lot of maps that aren't quite like it, but also I think it's going to be quite defenders orientated. I don't really want to make too many claims about what to expect from this because, again, we don't know what the meta's going to be.
Right.
We don't know what compositions teams are going to be playing.
And we can't judge from our Platinum games last night.
What we do see is that there's a lot of, like, narrow kind of streets.
Yes.
And I think that is going to be a lot of fun to watch because that forces a certain team composition and also a certain play style onto the teams. And then we also have a lot of open areas,
Yeah, it's interesting.
which will make it very interesting.
Yeah, it's like a combination of narrow tunnels and then huge open plazas, which means that certain compositions are going to be great in certain portions of the map and really bad in others. So I'm really interested to see what the teams end up running.
I just can't wait to watch Chengdu on this map. Can you imagine what they're going to be running? The Hunters can play any hero in the game.
We were running 6 DPS last night and winning on Paris. So,
it worked out.
It
worked out. All right, let's talk about another map that is going to make its return to the Overwatch League in Stage 2. We're going to be seeing Gibraltar in action here. Josh, you excited to see this map?
I am really excited to see Gibraltar back in the lineup, actually. And the reason for that is it tends to be a lot of more dive heroes. So you see the Genji, the Widowmaker, the Winston, stuff like that, has a lot of high ground. It's difficult to get value out of tanks. So even if these changes aren't enough to push teams away from using a lot of triple tank, triple support, I think the maps can also play a huge difference. And I'm excited to see people back on Genji. I mean, we've got players like Haxel in the league now. We've never really seen him playing in the Genji so far.
Drop a little name in a hat there.
Yeah.
Jinmu.
We have a lot of great Widowmaker players here as well. So Gibraltar is going to be a lot of fun for them as well.
Absolutely. Having said that, I've really enjoyed seeing the culmination of this meta in the Stage 1 title match because it was a lot of fun.
It was so fun. After 6 weeks, though, I'm ready for some Genji. Let's keep it moving. I know I'm super excited to see all the things to come together in Stage 2, but for now, don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back with some bold predictions after the break. It's the Watchpoint Post.
Entertaining GOATs slash 3-3 I've ever seen. This is why I do actually love this composition, because if it's played on such a high level and in such an aggressive way, it's actually so much fun to watch. It was such a great back and forth between those two games. I don't think if New York was in the final, we would have had a more exciting game. I actually think this topped it.
What about you, Josh?
I've got to agree with you. I think this was a fantastic series, and it gave me kind of flashbacks to the runaway squad that the Vancouver Titans was based on. They used to always go to 7 maps as well, always lose on control. It's a fantastic series to give reflections of the past as well for this team.
And Bren, you know, I was going to let you answer, but I know your answer. You got to watch
Overwatch
on your birthday. birthday. We've got our special birthday clown here. It's Kevin, our stage manager. He's got a special treat for you.
It actually has my name on it this time.
My hands are away. I'm not pushing you into the cake.
No one's going to hurt you this time, Brendan. No one's going to hurt you.
Glasses. You're safe here.
You got it. It's a second season. We totally wouldn't do exactly what we did in the first season to you. Or would we? Got him!
Unlucky, son.
Oh, man. That is going to do it for us.
The second cake.
Didn't see that.
Bren never saw the long con coming in. Shout out to Kevin. Shout out to production. We had an awesome day here in the Overwatch League. Thank you for watching the Stage 1 finals. That's going to do it for us today. But remember, we'll be back live on Disney XD Thursday, April 4th, kicking off Stage 2. You don't want to miss it. We'll see you then.
Sie sind besiegbar, die Faschisten. Es liegt in unserer Hand.
Die Welt hat mir mein ganzes Leben gestohlen. Vielleicht habe ich diese Fähigkeit, um mir etwas davon zurückzuholen. Die Welt hat mir mein ganzes Leben gestohlen. Vielleicht habe ich diese Fähigkeit, um mir etwas davon zurückzuholen.